Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your man, Abuamerican. I'm here answering another question that I had, and the question was, what is the difference between catch wrestling and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu? Now, the guy was looking for a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu school, and he ended up in a catch wrestling school, and so he wanted to know what the difference was. There's two primary differences, and one would be, and I have my note sheet. Sorry, I couldn't memorize all this stuff. I had to write some of it down. I had to research some of it. What I know, we'll start off with what I know for sure. The difference between catch wrestling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the way we go about our fights. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, we're all about position and submission. We get a position, then we go for the submission. If there's no position, no submission. We just don't mess with it like that. Catch wrestling is just submission. And of course, you know, that probably leads to catch wrestling being a very, muscle, strength, conditioning type game. You know, lots of scrambles, lots of, submission escape attempts and whatnot. And guys are going to scramble and they're going to really push hard to, make escapes and make submissions. It's going to take a lot of strength to do stuff like that. In Jiu-Jitsu, we go for position first and then submission. So we use leverage, our body, whatnot, to get in the proper position. And then when we've secured our opponent, we go for a submission. That would be the primary difference between catch wrestling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now, the second difference that I had to research was lineage, and that's why I have my note sheet here. What I could find was Karl Gotch was in the 1900s. I'm referencing my coach here, Ismail Abbas, on this one. Came up with it, or established it, and it became famous through a guy named Matt Fury. In contemporary times, you'll find that Judo Gene LaBelle is probably the most famous of the catch wrestlers around right now. In terms of catch wrestling groups that have like a name, in Europe it's Luta Livre, and one thing that they also are known for is no gi. In Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, we are all about the gi. We're going to come to that though. I'm going to cover that in a minute. Of course, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, we have Monsieur Maeda, I can't say his name right, with the lineage Carlson Gracie, and then Helio, and then, on and on and on, which is very widespread on the internet. You can find, there's a lot of research on it. You should really, if you're just training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you should know it. Now, going back to what I was talking about with the gi, I don't know that catch wrestling trains in the gi at all. And you could say there are a lot of similarities between Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu's no-gi game and catch wrestling. But really, if you look at it, there are no great Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu no-gi fighters that didn't train in the gi, period. Any no-gi fighter, the greats in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that you find, any of them, the greatest, you'll find that they were gi fighters. And you won't find it in reverse. You won't find someone who trained no gi and puts on a gi and becomes a great fighter. It just doesn't happen. It always happens in reverse. And of course, when you're in the gi, you have to think more. You have to think about protecting your neck more, protecting your limbs more, because your opponent has better grips and leverage and whatnot. So you take off the gi, of course, it's going to be like, hey, it's going to be, khali-wali easy, pie all day defending yourself. It's going to be a lot easier. And I think that this no gi, it gives guys a false sense of security in their game. And really, if you want to know how good you are, if you're a no-gi fighter and you disagree with me, put on a gi and go to a jiu-jitsu school and see what happens to you. That's just my humble opinion. Maybe you'll do well, maybe, but generally, you find that no-gi fighters, they don't really fare very well when they put on a gi. And we actually have guys, they were trained with us, they were Luta Livre. We got some guys that come here and they will not, for the life of them, put on a gi, And that no gi, it actually kind of brings the levels a little bit closer, between belts, blues to purples, whites to blues, purples to browns, browns to black. It can, because, it's slippery, it's fast, it's easier to protect yourself, just work up a sweat, you can slip out of arm bars easier, nobody's going to go on do a bow and arrow choke on you or anything like that. So that would be some primary differences between catch wrestling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now we bring ourselves to one of the final questions. What should you pick? As a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt, of course, I'm going to tell you Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's been proven time and time again that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu can take a lighter weight person and put him on par with a heavyweight person, or have him even dominate them when they have the proper technique and have trained enough. Catch wrestling, I don't know enough about it, but what I have seen, with their strength game and everything and how they go for submission first, I can't say that that's something that's going to be the same. Maybe he'll do well against someone who hasn't trained, but it's a matter of opinion. If you have jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu in your area and catch wrestling in your area, I'd say take the Brazilian jiu-jitsu. If you don't have Brazilian jiu-jitsu in your area, but you do have catch wrestling, take the catch wrestling. Of course, do something over nothing. That's preferable. But the first chance you get to jump in a gi and start doing the technique, man, go for it. That's my humble opinion. That's the differences that I know. If anyone's got something else, hey, just let me know. Do a video reply, slap something in the comments, make sure you subscribe. And also, for those of you who haven't looked already, this is a plug for my coach back here, and he's standing in the background. Boom. Go ahead and get yourself that book, Fast Track from White to Purple. I'll put a link at the bottom. You can take a look at it, go down there and see what it takes to get from White to Purple on Fast Track, guys. All right, this is your man, Abuamerican. If you got a question, hit me up. Until then, us. I got to get on the mat, people.